Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Ben Carl. Let's get ready to rumble.
And I am your host, 8-Bit Hypocrite, and today we are watching UCM Esports versus Park Esports.
And we have some roster changes today for UCM Esports. New on support role, we have It's You or Me. He's an Enchanter support specialist with specialty in champions such as Soraka, Yumi, Janna, Enchanter supports that can buff the AD carry and help them to do what they need to do. But he is not at all unfamiliar with engaged supports that are in the meta right now, such as Leona, Nautilus, and Thresh and Braum.
And a couple of other quick roster changes. Jhin Caitlyn, who was previously in the top lane, has been shifted to AD carry, along with It's You or Me as his support. He specializes in a lot of long-range AD carries, people like Caitlyn or Jhin that deal a lot of poke damage from a long distance.
As his name says.
Our final change will be Oron977 from the bot lane to the top lane. He was previously our AD carry, but is very, very familiar with AD bruisers, such as Renekton in particular.
We might also see that Set coming out, as Set has been unbanned from picking this part of the season. And also unbanned is Sylas, Lux, and Syndra, as those champions had bugs that were previously unaddressed in previous patches, but in 10.3 now, those champions, along with Set, are now unbanned and available for picking.
I would be really, really excited to see a Set come out this game. I don't know if we will, because he's a very popular ban, and as we can see, we're going to get right into it here.
And here the ban phase has started. Now, with our roster lineup, it's unknown whether we're going to prioritize the Set or pick him in, because he has an incredibly high win rate. And with us starting with UCM starting on the blue side, with
I return to my training.
Park University picking first, we might not see that Set come into play, as Elysian is the first ban to come out from Park Esports with our jungler, IP Slip, very strong in Elysian, which has been seen in previous games that we've played. And with the Thresh ban coming out from UCM Esports, the Thresh is a very powerful pick for support in the right hands, and is best left band if we're not going to pick it.
Definitely a very, very good engaged support along with people like Leona, anyone that can hop on that back line. And here we see the Elysian ban from Park University, definitely taking out that
I won't hurt you.
Again, another champion that we've seen IP Slow play across this set as play-in so far. And here comes the Olaf ban, another very powerful pick for the jungle, which is a broad, very high win rate champion in both solo queue and competitive play. And Soraka ban next coming out from Park Esports.
Just what we were talking about with those enchantresses, that's one of It's You or Me's favorite picks, so I'm not that surprised to see that ban. The final ban from UCM for the first round going to be Gnar from top.
Gnar's a very powerful pick into the top lane brews that Auron likes to play, so that is a definitely good ban. And here's the first pick, the Sejuani Jungle from Park Esports. Sejuani is a very good pick right now, substituting for other junglers such as Jarvan. You can just get in there, be tanky, and CC large amounts of crowds. And here's a Renekton pick as predicted for the top lane Auron with their along with the Jarvan. They'll be a very powerful pick in the top lane contesting that Rift Herald.
I am incredibly excited to see how this Renekton plays out. We haven't seen Auron in the top lane before, and the Set pick coming out from Park University as well.
Like I said, if that Set is not left unbanned, he is going to get picked, and he's a very powerful win rate champion right now. I think he has a 56% win rate in solo queue, platinum and above.
He is very, very hard to fight against, too. I've been trashed by a fair share of them in the past, so I'm not at all surprised to see it picked or banned.
I'm with you on that, 8-Bit. Mm-hmm. And here comes a Nautilus pick as a strong engaged support for the bot lane, who's been also at a very particular spot in the meta for very many patches in a row as one of the highest win rates engaged supports in the meta.
He was recently nerfed just a little bit. The damage from his hook and his ultimate were actually tuned down, but it really didn't hurt his win rate at all because his main ability is just locking down people in the back lane, and damage isn't what that's about. Looks like a Leona hover from UCM, and that will be our finest pick.
Leona's a very also powerful engaged support. I would argue that Leona is more powerful because of her further range and wider area of effect with her ultimate, the stun and slow anyone there, and with her ability to engage directly in with her E.
It ignores minions, unlike Nautilus, who you can hide behind. Leona you're not so lucky with. You have to stay out of the range of that hook. Otherwise, you're just going to get locked down.
We're not even covering what makes Leona amazing. It's her W ability, which gives her additional armor magic to just make her tanky as all heck, and also does burst in an area of effect around her, which actually has very high scaling with her AP and also with her armor.
A Jinx ban coming out from UCM here, trying to keep away those very, very long-range champions, it looks like. Something that Leona struggles with if she can't jump to them in the backline.
This is a very targeted ban, as the ADC for Park Esports, Speak Russian to Me, has very many games on Jinx, so this is obviously a very targeted ban towards him.
We've also seen the Senna and Fizz bans come out from each side respectively. Senna, I can also definitely understand that they don't want the Senna locked in for 80 carry. Stay really far back, heal up the Leona, it'll be very, very hard to deal with, so I'm not surprised by that ban either.
And the Fizz ban is very good as well, as Fizz also has a very high win rate as an assassination one-shot mid laner, who, if you can land his ultimate shark, that's game.
Yeah, no joke. Looks like the Misfortune pick will be the first pick for UCM here in the second round. The huge AoE from that ultimate combined with Leona's ability to lock them down right in the middle of it is going to be very, very scary for Park to deal with.
That's going to be a terrifying pick for UCM Esports, as Misfortune can play well in almost any ADC in the meta right now, and is actually very powerful now with the Caitlyn nerfs. She's coming back into the meta, because Caitlyn has indirectly been nerfed through the changes to Cloak of Agility. As in the previous meta, what we were seeing was Caitlyn players would buy Stormrazor, then buy 3 Cloaks of Agility, which are each 800 gold, for a very easy 100% crit, which scales with her passive ability, for very big damage for very cheap. With Misfortune now dominating the meta with the Doran's Blade build, which gives her increased sustain for very cheap.
The final 2 picks here being Syndra and LeBlanc for each mid lane. I'm excited to see the Syndra finally come out, but we're about to have a very, very nice introductory video for anyone who doesn't understand the game here. So, join us in a moment. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Mason, and I'll be going over the basics of the game before we begin. League of Legends is a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena. The game consists of 2 teams of 5 players, who will choose their champions to play as, each with their own special set of abilities. Each player has a specific role to fill in a certain area of the map, called lanes. Top lane usually consists of tanks and bruisers, characters that can take a lot of hits. Mid lane is usually for mages and assassins, who deal a lot of damage in a small amount of time. Bot lane has 2 players in it for each team, the AD carry and support. The ADC is someone that does a lot of damage from a long distance, and the support stays with them in order to keep them protected. Finally, the jungler has no set lane. They roam around in between the lanes in an area known as the jungle, killing monsters and jumping in to attack whatever lane needs help, an action known as ganking. The objective of the game is to push each lane forward, killing minions and destroying turrets that protect the enemy. Killing other players rewards gold, which can buy items and make your characters more powerful. The game ends when one team pushes all the way into the opponent's base, destroying this structure, called the Nexus, and winning the game.
And welcome back, folks. With the lineup here, we do have, as we said earlier, Oron 977 switching from ADC to the top lane, with Jin Caitlyn, our former top laner, Den switching ADC. And we are seeing a new player, It's You or Me, being subbed in for support.
Looking forward to see what It's You or Me can put forward on the team here. I'm very, very excited to see. With IP Slow in the jungle and B-Dump here in mid. Both very, very good players that we've seen each week. I'm excited to see what this team can do overall. I'm very, very excited.
We've been seeing this Jarvan 4 pick a lot from IP Slow in the past games that we've played this season. But in its incredibly powerful pick, and it's very good hands with IP Slow, along with the LeBlanc pick that we've seen twice already from B-Dump in previous games. We'll have to see how this goes.
Yeah. Last time we watched B-Dump here in the mid with LeBlanc, he burst down almost everyone very, very effectively. LeBlanc is a very effective champ to do that with, and he definitely utilized that to its full potential.
Definitely.
Anyway, now that we're waiting to get into the game here with the short spectator delay, we can kind of talk about, just what each of these teams can do individually.
And we can also identify their win conditions and how they're going to play out in team fights. So first, looking over at UCM's side, the first thing that sticks out to me is the pick with the J4 and the Leona combined. In a team fight, that could be potentially devastating for Park Esports, with Jarvan 4 landing the Crater ultimate, and with Leona bringing down her ultimate on that to land a massive stun that you cannot get out of. And then combining that with this Fortune ult, that's a devastating team fight for Park Esports, who doesn't quite seem to have the sort of combos that UCM has put together here.
I actually very much agree with that. The fact that we have so much CC on this team, not even just with the Leona and J4, who will each individually be very, very good and combined very powerful, but the LeBlanc also has a root, the Renekton has a stun, Misfortune even has a slow. Almost every single person on this team has some form of locking down an enemy champion, and I think it's going to be very, very prevalent in team fights.
We're not going to have ourselves here. Looking at Park Esports picks, Set is going to have a spring break here with all the tanky picks that we have on UCM side, from the Leona, the J4, and the Renekton. With that, with his ultimate, he could potentially do devastating amounts of damage, as his ultimate grabs an enemy champion and just plops him down and does massive damage depending on how much health they have. So those tanky picks into that set might not turn out the way UCM Esports wants them to.
It's definitely true, especially if that set is able to land his ultimate on something like a J4, get him out of his backline and into ours. It'll be absolutely devastating, as well as with his W and his E to help stun the backline. He can definitely be a huge tool. The only problem is he has to reach someone first.
All UCM Esports will also have to look out for that Sejuani ult, which could potentially be devastating in teamfight making, and with its long range, it can lock down one champion and slow others around it. That could potentially wipe UCM Esports with well coordination.
I think it'll be very, very exciting to focus on the top and bot lanes in particular this lane. Definitely not discounting mid at all. It'll be a definite fight between burst. But I'm just excited to see how this top lane in particular turns out.
And the teams are off. And as we can see, Park Esports is all going top. And we can see down in the scoreboard with items, you see everyone has remembered their starting items, which you don't want to forget.
Particularly support, giving you lots of early gold there. But that's quite alright.
We can see UCM Esports playing a even split, 5 across on each points. Because UCM Esports said it like this, they could stop this potential invade that they're seeing here, that Park Esports tried to pull off.
It does look like they're falling back a little bit there. Looks like Oron definitely noticed what was happening and bailed out very quickly, watching for that early Nautilus hook that could have picked up a kill very easily.
If you pay attention to UCM Esports spacing and where they're positioned in their own jungle, you can see that each of them are stationed at a point of entrance into the jungle. So no matter where Park Esports groups in, they will know where they're coming from and they will retreat in time.
Oh. Is this a replay, or is this happening live once again? It does appear to be a replay. Alright, I was confused. I apologize, everyone. Anyway, looking forward to, as well as jungle pathing is something that I'm looking for here. I don't actually know the correct path for Sejuani in this particular case. J4 is rather easy. We're looking for some early ganks, but Sejuani might have a bit of trouble pre-level 6.
Sejuani is probably most likely going to start down on their red side and make her way up to gank top when she's more powerful. But the J4 appears to be starting in his top side. We'll make an early gank down the bot side, which could potentially be devastating for Park Esports if pulled off.
J4 definitely has a lot more early game tools, I would say, than Sejuani. Not discounting her at all. She definitely has the knock-up and the slows, as well as the stunning passive. However, J4's ability to just jump into the backline right away at the start of the game can be very, very dangerous, and definitely something to watch out for.
Especially with that knock-up CC, that could potentially also be devastating, along with the entrance in from his QE.
Looking towards the top lane once again, I keep returning to this simply because I'm interested to see how this turns out. We have two very, very aggressive top laners. We can already see a little bit of a skirmish breaking out here.
Yeah, just trading back and forth. Not sure who's going to win these early trades. Renekton has very powerful healing, but Set with his combo with his Q ability, which lets him punch 4 times very fast, if timed correctly. It's anyone's trades.
Same being with the fact that Set has his passive that simply allows him to regenerate health depending on how low he is. Both of these laners have very good stun. A little bit of a skirmish there breaking out in the bot lane.
We have Park Esports pushing in hard into the bot lane. We have a fight breaking out top, potentially. Oh, and we're paused. And the fight's going to break apart as Set retreats.
Looking at this, once again, Set is very, very good at sustaining when he runs away, but Renekton is very good at sustaining in the fight. As you can see, he's pushing up here, gets a little bit of a stun, but that Q is just going to heal him so much.
And Set's going to keep going in because the Sejuani up for the top lane gank as predicted earlier. I think Auron might get away from this, and the Sejuani does have her dash, and that is first blood going to Park Esports with the Sejuani gank top on Auron. Renekton giving first blood.
The fact that Sejuani picked up that kill early is going to be very, very useful for her, but a little bit detrimental for the Set. He definitely got assist gold, which will help him a lot, but you definitely want to try to lock down that Renekton early, get a really nice lead, because that's where Renekton thrives. When he's early, he is a huge threat, whereas he falls off a lot harder than Set in the late game.
Now we do see the Park Esports bot lane is pushing in with IP Slow looking for the gank bot lane. As UCM Esports pushes in, preparing for this gank, we can see IP Slow still in the river. Not sure if he's going to try to do anything here.
The Leona lands the engage, and Caitlyn is forced to flash away from that.
That is one summoner spell away from Park Esports, but Leona has taken quite an amount of damage here, as that was a lost trade.
Looking towards support items in particular here, they both have taken Targon's Buckler to start the game. A very, very good choice from both sides. It shares the gold across players, which will be very, very helpful for both of these lanes. Getting Misfortune and Caitlyn ahead early is vital for both of their mid and late games.
Especially with those additional tanky support stats that you could get on early. And also with the gold acquisition for the supports that will not distract anything from their laner when farming.
It's definitely a very, very good tool to have.
And we can see the bot lane pushing back in the Park Esports as UCM takes the leading role down this bot lane to push in.
We can see the Sejuani is kind of waiting around towards her Krugs there. Looks like she's taking them, but the fact that she's applying so much pressure to bot immediately after getting a kill in the top lane can be very, very dangerous, and something that UCM is going to have to watch for. We can see the Sejuani already looking for another gank here, moving in.
Oh, and the flash from Jin Caitlyn away from the Nautilus hook, saving them from possible death in that gank. So that is both flashes taken away from both bot sides.
Both sides do still have a heal remaining, as well as an ignite, and the Nautilus lands the hook.
Oh, and that's a fight breaking out again in the bot lane. Sejuani and Jarvan are both here with teleport coming in from Auron's 977. The Renekton is down there, and that's getting off the stun last second. But it looks like UCM Esports is not going to pick up anything off of that.
No, they did get a kill on the Nautilus, actually.
Oh, I did not see that.
Even.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
You're good. The Leona looks for another hook, but doesn't quite land it. That was a huge amount of action there in the bot lane, but Renekton also blew a TP to get down there. They are now taking Drake as well, but Set still has his to apply pressure across the map.
With Renekton down there and with Nautilus dead, it's unlikely they'll contest this dragon, as Set would probably rather push into this tower and get a few plates off for extra gold than get this early Ocean Drag.
Absolutely.
This Ocean Drag will be amazing for UCM Esports with their more tanky cop, which will give them the health regen that they need to stay in the fights.
Looks like next Drake is also Mountain as well. Another small boost to those tanky stats. If UCM is looking to take that later on, it'll be incredibly helpful. Like we just said though, because Renekton teleported bot, even though they got Drake, Set was able to get 2 plates off of the top tower. That's equivalent to a kill. He got he got a huge gold boost just from staying in lane right there.
That trade will get them ahead in the early game. That Ocean Drake is still going to be amazing for UCM Esports. It's unsure whether this trade will pay off for UCM Esports or not.
Absolutely true. Caitlyn and Misfortune here, both looking to just kind of poke each other down right now. UCM walking back to lane after that very successful gank. It looks like all of the gold went to the J4, which will be incredibly, incredibly helpful in applying pressure to other lanes. Him jumping in and dealing as much damage as possible early will be very good.
Now we can see Park Esports does have a 1,000 gold lead on UCM Esports. Probably just because of better farming and better CSing that we can see from both lanes. In the mid lane with 20 CS advantage, in the top lane, but Auron actually still in the lead with 9 CS advantage.
Very, very impressive to stay ahead in CS even after that teleport in the bot lane. Like we said, those plates gave Set a lot of gold, but the fact that Auron is keeping up so well in CS will help keep it nice and even.
We can also see a 15 CS difference down in the bot lane with Jin Caitlyn falling behind Speak some Russian to me.
A bit of an auto attack fight breaking out here in the top lane. Renekton looking to shred that Set's armor.
Oh, and Set lands the E, but the Renekton ult is coming out. It's unsure who's going to win this fight. It's looking like Oron might go down if Set cannot catch up to him. And there's a stun coming out, and the Q auto, and Set catches him with the E, pulling him back in to kill, and get another kill top lane.
J4 also landed a kill on Caitlyn.
Oh, that's the hook on Misfortune down the bot lane, but counter engage from It's Your Me secures the kill on the Nautilus once again.
It is
for
still
UCM Esports.
Absolutely evening kills here. It is 3-3. We can see J4 with 2 of those kills for UCM, and Leona with the other one. But the fact that Misfortune has 3 assists boosts her gold so much, and she's looking for a back here to try to itemize with it.
We can see that both bot laners, support and ADC on UCM, have participated in every kill UCM has gotten so far. So that's going to be huge gold for the bot lane.
It seems like a lot of pressure is being applied bot, but Set just keeps on pushing in that top lane. If I had any guess, it looks like J4 is going to be looking for some plays here in the top lane to help out Oron.
So right, and here's another fight breaking out. And Sejuani's coming to help Set get away. J4 not quite landing the EQ combo, only going a short distance. He's going to back off, and that's going to be no one's trade.
J4's flash now down from that short play here, but Renekton's still looking for the play on Set, just delaying that back a little bit longer.
And Set misses E. This is Auron's chance to go in, but Sejuani is here, so he's going to have to back off and save that for another.
The Sejuani ult
coming out with Auron flashing away.
J4 jumping
the J4
in.
Crater jumping and catching both Set and Sejuani in here, but here comes another teleport from Syndra from the mid lane.
The Renekton picks up the kill, but can they save Jarvan here?
And Jarvan does not get away as Syndra lands the ult on. And here is LeBlanc coming up. Another kill secured for UCM Esports and Syndra's flash away.
LeBlanc still looking to chase here, just trying to get around the Syndra. But Renekton's a little bit too low to continue the chase.
We saw 4 ults dropped in that fight and 3 kills there.
And there's another one out from Leona.
And Leona gets caught from the hook, but that might not be good for Park Esports because the last thing you want is a Leona right in your face.
Yeah, no joke. That stun right on top of you is scary. It does look like she gets out all right, but the Set teleported back up behind the Renekton, looking for a fight.
And that's the ult coming out, and E catching him up with Sejuani there to back him up. Does not like Oron is going to get out of his fight as Sejuani picks up the kill.
Park Esports is definitely looking to shut down this Renekton nice and early, make him absolutely useless in the late game. But in response is kind of neglecting the bot lane here. Like we said, the bot lane has a lot of kills racked up. And it's still 5-5, nice and even here.
And we can't also ignore that 1 kill on the LeBlanc mid lane, as both Misfortune and LeBlanc are potential win conditions for UCM Esports in this match.
Looking at the mid, it looks like Park Esports will take first turret in the top lane. Once again, just applying all of that pressure, dropping the Rift Herald. But in response, UCM looking to take the Drake here. Like we said, the tanky stats just are going to add even more on top of that Ocean Drake.
But will the 2 turrets be a good change for this dragon?
Probably not right now. If this game goes on long enough, I have no doubt that this trade is going to pay off. But as of right now, we can see that Park Esports has a 2,500 gold lead already. And it looks like Infernal Rift coming out here, taking away some of those hiding places and allowing new paths through the jungle.
This could be potentially devastating for either team as it opens up new gank routes for both Jarvan and Sejuani for easy access into both lanes.
Both very, very mobile champions overall. Like, Sejuani doesn't appear very mobile, but that dash can get her through a lot of the walls around the rift. And now the fact that Infernal Rift has opened up some of those paths so she doesn't have to use that, she can conserve that for camps, clear faster, and jump into lanes more often.
As we can see here, we can still look at the CS difference mid. You see Syndra almost has a 30 CS advantage. The bot lane CS is catching up with still 30 CS difference in favor of Park Esports.
Looking at the top lane itemization here, we can see that Oron is still ahead on CS with Renekton, but the fact that Set has picked up so many kills and that Renekton has died so many times, you can see in their gold differences. It's very, very prevalent, as Set already has a Sterix Gauge as his first item to try to shut out that Renekton damage that bursts all at once.
We'll see the Essence Reaver on the Misfortune coming out for the mana sustain and the crit chance early on. Looks like Misfortune's going to be going the crit build and not the other lethality build. The crit build is definitely more popular in the meta right now, but it could be anyone's game still.
Absolutely. And as we were talking about earlier, the Caitlyn has picked up a Storm Razor nice and early on. Ooh, the Syndra ult coming out onto the LeBlanc, but just barely escapes. That will not be a kill for Parks.
Unfortunately not for Park, but here we can see Aura and Set both looking for a fight, as Aura lands his full combo, but still takes a fair amount of damage through the minions.
Set is getting very, very tanky very quickly. That Sterix gauge added a lot of health onto him, and we can see that Set has picked up...
And there's a hook in the bot lane, catching at Leona as the Leona's outcome, and Misfortune ults come out, and here's the flash away from Leona. Will she survive?
Caitlyn
and the flash from Misfortune to block ult. The Caitlyn ult, and that will be a kill on the Nautilus, but both killed onto Leona and Misfortune, unfortunately.
Caitlyn picks up both of those kills in the bot lane, which will allow her to scale very, very quickly, as well as it looks like taking a turret plating.
We can see Caitlyn already has that coveted Storm Razor as her first item, which is very powerful on Caitlyn, as it gives her a slow on her very long auto attacks that do crit, as she does want to build 100% crit as soon as she can.
As I was talking about a little bit ago, the fact that Set is tanking up so much is definitely shutting down Oron more than he'd like to be. The fact that he picked up Ninja Tabby will definitely shut down a lot of Renekton's combo, because he does rely on weaving in auto attacks quite a lot. So we may be looking at the end of Renekton here, at least for the early game.
Oh, and LeBlanc dashing in, landing the E stun, and the Ignite, backing off, does get the kill as the Nautilus misses the hook, but Set is here, and does land the ultimate, and looks like LeBlanc will go down in exchange for that kill.
Just barely didn't get over that wall with the dash there, which is very, very unfortunate, and Set picks up another kill to add to his arsenal.
Now, interesting enough, we can still see in the top lane, Renekton still does have the CS advantage, astonishingly against the Set, who's been a bully this entire lane against Renekton, keeping him off farm and killing him.
That is absolutely true. We can see here in the trades, they do remain pretty even. The fact that Set has to dedicate so many of his abilities and so much of his resources to just killing the Renekton that's already behind in kills is very, very important. The fact that Renekton will remain relevant and in the game for at least the mid and early late game is very, very important for UCM.
With Park Esports taking a lead on this game, it could still be anyone's game, as UCM Esports still has the opportunity to come back in the mid lane with this amazing teamfight comp they've drafted up.
Parks picks up a second Rift Herald here and is looking to drop it top once again, is at least my guess. Try to break that base wide open, although mid wouldn't be unheard of either, as UCM pushes up to attempt to take this bot lane tower.
Which looks like they will get with the J4E dropping down to give them all attack speed to take that just in time for their minions to run out.
Absolutely. Looking back towards the mid lane here, Syndra just trying to get some poke in on this LeBlanc here.
Now we do have Drake coming up in 20 seconds, who does look like UCM Esports is playing towards that bot side, and with the engage being denied from the Syndra onto Leona, we will see probably a Leona first blood for this fight here, as Leona does go down to the Syndra.
We can see that all of Parks has rotated to the bot lane with Set entering as well behind Dragon Pit. I don't know if UCM is going to be able to contest this efficiently. Maybe with the Misfortune ults, they might have some luck, but the fact that Parks can dish out so much damage in such a little time to a single target is going to be very, very scary to engage on.
Especially with all their CC, especially from this Syndra, Set, Nautilus, and the Sejuani. It's going to be a game of who can kill who faster, because death is the best form of CC.
It's true. Dead enemies deal 100% less damage than alive ones. It does look like Parks loses a tower in response to taking Dragon, but they will pick up that extra damage bonus.
Infernal Drake is a very powerful Drake. Doesn't quite compare up to the likes of Wind Drake, which is reduced cooldown on one's ultimate, or Infernal Drake, but it is still, or Ocean Drake, but it's still a very powerful Drake.
Absolutely. The bonus damage, I believe it's 4%, if I remember correctly.
I think you're correct on that.
At least for the first one. Especially in such a team comp that's centered around single target damage. There is still a lot of AoE, but Caitlyn, Set, they both like to focus a single target. Syndra as well really likes to focus
the LeBlanc either in that.
That's absolutely true. The Infernal Drake is going to help everyone a lot. I just think that a lot of single target people that deal damage will benefit the most overall.
With the LeBlanc on the field, it could be possible if Park Esports does not protect their carries that well, we could see a one-shot from LeBlanc onto either of them.
And definitely not unheard of. In the last couple of games, like we were talking about early, we saw quite a few just absolute destruction of health bars coming out from the LeBlanc.
And that's UCM turret destroyed in the bot lane, as playing around bot side will get that tower. Looks like they're trying to go for the second one and playing in the bot side jungle of UCM Esports.
Set unleashing the Rift Herald here, moving up to try to take this second tier.
Looks like he dropped it a little too early, but they will still probably get the tower off that.
Looks like UCM has to move back since J4 is all the way in the top jungle. He had to rotate all the way back to assist with this Rift Herald here.
Oh, and there's the kill on Misfortune from the Syndra as she gets caught by Nautilus ultimate and the Syndra ultimate
Set
simultaneously.
in the back line.
Here comes the J4 ultimate trapping the set, but he does manage to survive long enough not to get killed. Nautilus just soaking up all the damage front line, trying to keep UCM Esports off everyone. That's the kill on the set by the J4.
Meanwhile, Caitlyn has picked up a kill on the LeBlanc, taking out some of that assassination pressure as they move up to try to take UCM's inhibitor here.
Both teams still do have 3 on the field, but does look like UCM does have tankier opponents on the field, as both hyper carries for Park Esports are still on the field. And that's Renekton going down, just getting targeted by both the Caitlyn and the Syndra. The Caitlyn getting caught out by the J4, but still J4 going down.
UCM dedicated a lot of resources to trying to get into the backline there and take down that Caitlyn, which in the end was successful in ending the team fight and saving the inhibitor, but in exchange for that lost 600 gold in kills.
Look at the gold difference here. We can still see that Park is leading with a 4K gold advantage on UCM Esports.
Looking at the kills as well, Parks is ahead by roughly 3, which is just over 1,000 gold, so that's not unheard of. But the fact that they have 4 more towers than UCM right now is definitely contributing to that gold difference quite a lot. We can also see next Drake here is coming up in just 2 minutes, so I might see play start to shift back towards the bot lane.
You see them grouping around the Baron, a very powerful objective that will be coming up here in 13 seconds.
I'm not sure if we'll see a fight right away, but there's definitely going to be pressure applied around the Baron.
Both teams looking to secure as much vision as they can around this objective for a potential fight and to deny potential takings of it.
Absolutely.
We can see Park Esports clearing out a ward that UCM had planted there. They might be trying to go that as Renekton is down in the bot lane, still traveling up, clearing this red ward down on Dragon. It's anyone's game still.
It really is. The thing about League is even with a little bit of a deficit like this, it is entirely possible for the coin flip to just completely change sides and UCM to turn this around in one good team fight. The thing about League is all you have to do is watch for mistakes.
And there's LeBlanc getting caught out, another mistake from them, as she does get away from that slow there, but is caught by the Caitlyn ult and survives with just a little help. Is she going to get out of that? We have no idea. UCM still not quite grouping around to go protect LeBlanc. LeBlanc is the gateway to get the recall.
The Nautilus hook coming out after a flash.
There's the ult coming out on 2 of them stunning, and the set diving in, and with the Misfortune ult coming in, with everyone avoiding it, immediately getting out, as Misfortune did not ult as soon enough.
Nautilus falls.
Nautilus falling along with the set falling. We can see this again here. Both of them are caught out. With the Misfortune slows, they will get another kill here.
Everyone is so low on health, but UCM pushing forward to try to secure this final kill here.
And that is the ace from UCM. They will get this Baron if they have enough health to take it. Looks like LeBlanc will have to back off or get that plant. They might not have enough health to take this objective.
Definitely looking towards Baron here. By the time that Renekton is back up, I assume that he will have it as well. I think that it'll take roughly another 10 seconds to take this Baron.
LeBlanc taking a lot of damage off this. Is unsure if... And there's the execute for LeBlanc from the Baron. As said, she did not have enough health to quite take this. We might see UCM back up. And we see the Renekton teleporting in to help them take it. And has have it pushed up onto Park Esports and ready to fight immediately after this Dragon if need be.
Leona looking well as well, and looking low as well, and is also executed. Unfortunately, the W did not last
Baron
long
kills
enough.
On UCM Esports as they're going to trade this drag for the Baron on only 3, as they lost 2 members, will not get the Baron buff.
That is a long death timer, but it looks like UCM is going to be able to regroup and spread that Baron buff around before Parks can push into their base. So that'll definitely be helpful for defense and pushing in response.
Park Esports playing 3 mid and 2 bot. They might see a split push bot here from the set and the Sejuani. But as we see Sejuani backing up, looking to regroup with mid for a final push.
Misfortune is going to have to play very, very carefully here should this Nautilus push forward. Without her support, well, Leona is regrouping now, but if she gets caught out by a Nautilus hook, that could very, very easily be an incredibly important pick for Parks.
3 of Parks players coming to steal UCM's blue buff, and Caitlyn Trap's going to have to deny Jarvan for the smite that's taken away from them.
Looks like the teams are kind of fighting around Baron Pit right now. UCM still trying Dragon, sorry. Wrong side of the map. UCM still spreading around that Baron buff to their minions, helping them push forward faster and take more damage. Looks like everyone's just kind of grouping around this bottom jungle right now. UCM forced to back off and regroup with another minion wave as the Nautilus hook
the Nautilus
comes down.
catches the J4 with the hook. That's going down. We can see Dark Binding from LeBlanc as the ult comes out from Misfortune. That's going to be a kill on the Jarvan by Park Esports. That's double kill on Leona for the Syndra.
Taking out 2 of their biggest tanks, but now there's a Renekton in the backline.
And there's that assassination I was talking about earlier from the LeBlanc onto the Caitlyn, who's undefended and preoccupied with killing the Renekton. We can see that UCM Esports does manage to get 2 kills out to trade the 2 kills that Park Esports does catch, with this Baron buff still on the field on Misfortune.
The fact that Misfortune still has this Baron buff is going to be really, really important here. I can't see if Sejuani's ultimate is burned. It is right now. It was used in the last team fight. So Misfortune is in kind of a precarious situation pushing up like that, but she's not in as much danger as she could be, especially with the Nautilus hook down.
And we can see, if we look at the items for both AD carries, we can see Misfortune does have a slight advantage on the Caitlyn here, as she does have Infinity Edge, while Caitlyn does lack it in exchange for a Rapid Fire Cannon.
Not only that, but looking up towards the kills once again, UCM has evened the score. While still being down just a little bit in gold, we have caught up in kills, and that's going to be very, very important in the future. The fact that we can fight them efficiently and trade is very, very important.
We can also see they're even in Drakes now with 2 Infernal Drakes for Park Esports, along with the Earth Drake and the Ocean Drake for UCM Esports.
Waiting on this next Drake here for another roughly 2.5 minutes. UCM's already trying to set up around that, it looks like, taking the Scuttler. It's going to be a very, very important resource. That 3rd Drake, the threat of getting Soul, is going to be very, very important to applying pressure, especially in the bottom half of the map.
With UCM already here, we will see if the saying, the early word gets a word, is true in regards to getting dragons.
Looks like Renekton and J4 pushing up together here. We can see that very, very powerful combo of the CC and the fact that you can dash to the wall.
And Nautilus does get caught out by both J4 and Renekton as ultimate goes out from both Renekton and J4, but no kill is found with both of those ultimates spent and J4 low on health.
The Caitlyn jumping in there just at the end, landing the net on the J4 and dealing quite a lot of damage. We can see the fight still kind of focusing around the Dragon Pit here.
We can see the set, full grit with that huge shield from his W. Does not quite catch anyone big in its radius and his main line of damage, but we can still see that both teams are going to back off, not winning the fight this yet.
The fact that Dragon is up so soon once again will definitely make the threat of getting killed more prevalent. If either team loses an important member of a team fight right here, that's basically Dragon decided because there won't be enough time to regroup before the fight.
And we can see with less than a minute left on the clock before Dragon comes up, you can see Park Esports starting to play around there and UCM Esports moving to try to catch them out with some vision.
LeBlanc dealing just a little bit of poke damage there, but she's going to back off as well, trying to push forward this mid wave like we just saw Misfortune doing a little bit ago. Trying to apply pressure, so even if Parks wants to fight with the Drake, the threat of that wave pushing up is going to force them to back off. Although it does look like the Caitlyn is pushing mid back up in response and moving towards Drake with 20 seconds on the clock.
Against the UCM is going to start gripping around this Drake in the mid-river, going to clear wards around it to deny Park Esports any vision of them trying to take it.
Looks like Nautilus is a little bit far back waiting for the engage here. It looks like Parks is going to try to wait for the Dragon to come up to force a fight, but they're looking for a set
and
pick
that's the
here.
fight as Renekton goes in immediately onto the backline as Caitlyn gets away with the net, and Dre4 jumps right in, landing the ultimate on 2 of Park Esports. There's Fortune out coming out, catching some of them in the radius, but then being caught by the Nautilus hook, who then goes down to Renekton, who then dashes through and catches out 2 of the carries from Park Esports. The stun coming out onto Set, who does manage to land the E and grab two of UCM Esports players.
Caitlyn just picking up a lot of the kills by just standing in the backline there. Something that Misfortune can't do as efficiently with her range, and it looks like she'll fall as well.
With beat up only one alive with LeBlanc on the map, that is going to be Park Esports Dragons should they choose to go for it.
I don't think that LeBlanc can really... Oh my goodness,
and the huge damage coming out, and with the burn, you can see that the ace goes to Caitlyn and Park Esports.
The Storm Razor proc on that is so efficient. The fact that it was also burned doesn't help at all. She almost made it out with just a sliver of health, but it's not quite enough as Parks moves forward to take the Drake. Not only that, we now see Baron is back up on the field. I'm looking forward to a fight around that once again. UCM is now down by 3 kills, but J4 has picked up the Guardian Angel, something that'll help quite a lot. He'll pop back up halfway through that team fight as Parks moves forward into Baron.
And with 3 Infernal Drakes on the field for Park Esports, that's going to be a lot of damage coming out from them, even from their most tanky members.
Absolutely, that percentage increase. So if you have any amount of damage, that's boosted by a huge amount. Both teams kind of moving forward to try to secure more vision around the Baron here. But no fights breaking out just yet.
We can see Renekton is splitting in the bot. He does have the TP up, so he can go in to help and split with this at the same time.
Absolutely, and that's very important. Set's teleport is also up as well, but it looks like he's focusing more towards... Well, right now he's on Krug, so he's also towards the bottom half of the map. It appears that both top laners had the same general idea.
And we can see Misfortune is caught by Leona is caught by the Nautilus hook and stunned, and is going to get caught out and killed by the Caitlyn.
That's going to be a huge problem for a Baron fight. The Leona CC for the backline was so important, and the fact that she's down might be the deciding factor in the fight around Baron.
Rather than take the Baron, Park Esports is going to go for this first tower and is going to take it and move into the second one as Misfortune drops her ult to clear wave to stop them from getting any damage on that second turret.
Another resource down for UCM trying to help with the team fights here. That's another one of Misfortune's biggest perks, is the huge amount of damage her AoE does.
Park Esports looking to take this drag. UCM can't quite contest it. They're not all the way grouped yet. With the Caitlyn traps blocking their entrance in as Oron slips right past, but is probably going to get hooked by the Nautilus here if he can't dodge it. And he is caught and is grabbed by the set and pulled in and ulted.
Parks peeling off of the Baron here to move to the fight.
And that is Set going to catch the Misfortune out as UCM Esports starts backing off. They cannot win this fight.
J4 is pulled back in, and the Leona ult comes back down. J4 making it out with just under half of his health, but looking to try to fight with this Set a little bit here as Renekton falls to the Sejuani.
And we can see the hook from Nautilus pulling in back into Leona, but they cannot get anything out of that. We can still now see a 6-kill lead for Park Esports as they go in for the get this inhib.
I assume that once this inhib is taken, they're going to back off and go right back to Baron, and UCM is not going to have enough time to regroup with that. Looks like Set and Syndra backing here.
Oh, and Set's going to fall back as a fight might brew out around this fallen inhib, but they are going to back off and do your call or go for the drag.
We could see that damage coming out from just a single Caitlyn auto attack back onto the Syndra, dealing almost half of her health there. We can see what a threat this Caitlyn is. She's going to be very important and definitely a priority to lock down along with the Syndra. Not to mention the Sejuani passive hitting everyone and allowing for so many stuns in a team fight can be very dangerous. We saw that in some of the past ones where everyone was just locked down.
Let's see, Park Esports playing around mid lane, not quite going for that Baron yet, as UCM Esports just clears their waves, pushing on their inhib turrets and inhibs in the top lane and mid lane. But we can see down in the bot lane, there is a wave pushing in the UCM Esports, going for that inhib down in the bot lane. If they don't catch that, that might crash into their inhib and might take it out eventually.
Dragon is up in a minute and a half roughly. This Infernal Soul will be very good for both teams. Currently, Parks has 3 Drakes, so they have the highest chance of getting it, but if UCM is able to stall out the game long enough, that Dragon Soul may be the deciding factor as LeBlanc charges in.
It does get out, but does get caught with a headshot from the Caitlyn, doing massive damage, almost taking out LeBlanc.
Set gets a little bit fooled with his sweepers there. Thought he saw LeBlanc standing along the edge, but it was just her double, so LeBlanc is alright over there. as Parks is moving towards the
and there's the ultimate coming out from Set. As I said earlier, it's very powerful on those tanky champions. As a bunch of ults come out here with J4 and Misfortune combined, as we said earlier, that's a very powerful combo. But does not look like UCM Esports is going to win, as that's a double kill for Set. And he's going to catch another out here. This might be... And there's the Misfortune getting caught again by the Set W and ulted by Syndra. Leona then getting caught and pulled in back again. J4, the only one surviving. That team fight is going to Park Esports. We's going to take that inhib.
It looks like this might even be close to the end of the game here, as super minions are pushing into the top lane, allowing for some extra defense on those Nexus towers, and it looks like the first match for today is going to go over to Parks.
That was a good first game. It was very close, but unfortunately not decided, as the Park Esports scaled way harder than UCM Esports did. They couldn't quite get that team fight comp that they wanted to.
Indeed, especially with the Sejuani's help in locking down the early Renekton, it was very, very unfortunate. As Renekton doesn't scale as well as someone like Set into the late game, the fact that Parks was able to lock them down so early was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout that entire game, some of the main deciding factors were definitely Set, as well as the Caitlyn. I would not at all be surprised if we saw bans for both of those champions coming out from UCM here in the next game.
With UCM Esports being on blue side this game, with first pick and first ban, we might not even see the Set ban. We might see UCM Esports even pick up the Set first, as we said earlier. But we don't know. They might not risk it, as Oron 977 might not be as experienced as he thinks on that Set.
Absolutely true. It's a little bit worrying with the team fight pressure that Parks kind of had. The simple fact that they could get picks out and just remove people from the team fight was very, very detrimental to UCM overall. We had a strong team fight, but were unable to use it because there were so many members down before the fight even started.
Now we can also see a deciding factor in this game was Speak Russian to be scaling very hard on that Caitlyn, a new ADC being brought in for Park Esports team who did not actually play last game in the round 2.
So this is a new face that we're seeing actually from Parks. We haven't been able to collect much information on that then.
But what we could see though, we did see that Speak Russian did have 500 games on Jinx alone in solo queue last season, in Season 9, which is astonishing a number in itself.
And that's why we saw the definite Jinx ban from UCM, which, again, I would not be at all surprised to see once again this round.
Not at all. And we did see that Renekton might not be picked again into this top laner, as Renekton did perform poorly, but if UCM is confident about it, that they can ban out the Set, they might run it again.
Absolutely. I think that, like previously said, one of the main deciding factors was the fact of jungle pressure early on in the top lane, where Renekton does very, very well, but only really against one or two people. The fact that jungle applied so much pressure up there early kind of just shut down his whole potential for the rest of mid-game in general. And ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we will be shortly moving back into the second round champ select. I'm very excited to see what all is picked.
And we're back for Game 2 of Round 3 of the Call of Duty Legends play-ins. I'm your host, Vencarl, once again.
And I am your host, 8-Bit Hypocrite, and it's a pleasure to be back.
Now, in that last game, we saw a bunch of big team fights, mostly going to Park Esports. They dominated the early game, and then shut down that Renekton to get them into the late game to win.
I think that the pressure applied from Set especially was very, very detrimental to the Renekton early game. The fact that Renekton's trades didn't go all the way through with the health regeneration was also very, very important.
And we are going to be into the pick phase here. We will see the first bans coming up from UCM this time rather than Park Esports, as UCM did have picked blue side in this match.
So I wonder what we're going to see here. I assume that we'll be taking out the Jinx once again, but the Thresh is actually the first ban from UCM. Again, a very, very strong engage getting into the backline, and a response from Parks is the Elysian leaving.
Once again, these bans are looking very similar to how they were last game, as I'm guessing Park Esports also did their research, as we did, onto our opponents, are banning out accordingly as what we have been playing, what we do play, what we are good at.
Absolutely. IP slow here in the jungle for UCM. Very, very, very good on Lee Sin. It's a huge threat.
There's another ban targeting IP slow with the Elise, which he has been playing. It has played in several past rounds and has dominated on. Getting banned out.
Another support ban from UCM as our second is the Nautilus that we saw in the last game, and there goes the Caitlyn as well.
We saw that Caitlyn dominate very hard last game, but that's going to open up the Jinx pit possibly first. Park Esports, so might prioritize, and that's a Senna ban. Again, Senna's a very good pick because she can off-roll both, flex both ADC and support, although she's more powerful right now with higher win rates ADC. And there's the Set and Sejuani picks from both sides. With IP slow is going to pick up that Sejuani, but they are going to trade off for that Set, which Park Esports is going to pick up again.
UCM doing their best to deny the Sejuani here from Park, as since we are playing it, they cannot pick into it. But in response, it looks like a Trundle will be picked, who is recently buffed by quite a bit. He's rather strong right now.
Trundle has seen some buffs, increasing the movement speed he gets from his W ability, which creates a terrain of ice, which gives him attack speed and movement speed, and also an increased slow from his Pillar of Ice on his E, which is a giant piece of terrain in the middle of the map.
Really just both of those buffs and changes were very, very good for his engage. The fact he can get on top of people, but the Rakan and Xayah coming out for the bot lane here.
Very
in
strong
UCM.
duo for this bot lane.
Absolutely. Meant to be together and all that.
Now, what makes Xayah Rakan so strong is Xayah's range actually increased on her W while Rakan is nearby, and Rakan does get it as well. Both of these two champions can also recall together, which makes them very powerful backing, as Rakan can start back and then pick up Xayah last second.
That way Xayah has just a little bit more time to CS and get that last bit of poke in, things like that, and still get out in the shortest amount of time. In response to the bot lane, we see a Karma pick coming out from Park Esports, who has also recently buffed just a little bit. Karma's always been pretty strong though.
Karma's recently seen some win rate increases with some buffs on her Q, and with her just massive poke in lane, she can poke out most other supports in this meta currently, which makes a very powerful counter to champions like Morgana, which can potentially deny hard CC with her Black Shield.
Both of the mid laners from last game banned from each side respectively, UCM banning out the Syndra, and Parks banning out the LeBlanc. It seems like both sides didn't really like the other playing that champion.
Well, you can see that both sides are respecting that each mid laner played their champion very well and were threats in the game. So I would see this as a symbol of respect from both sides for each of their respective mid laners.
Absolutely. Both sides did incredibly well.
And that's a Yasuo ban coming up from Park Esports onto UCM, denying it being played mid or top, as both those lanes have not been picked.
The final pick from UCM here we're currently waiting on, my guess would be a Jinx, as the AD carry hasn't been picked for Parks yet. And as we talked about, oh no, the Misfortune instead.
Well, we can see that Misfortune is also a very powerful pick and could be a potential counter to the Xayah, which is very strong at the moment as well, but does not play well into Misfortune.
Absolutely. It looks like a Teemo hover from Parks here, but I don't think that will be played. Perhaps I'll be proven wrong, but you know, you don't see that. It will be funny either way. I assume that bot lane is picking here.
And there is that Jinx pick that we mentioned earlier onto Speak Russian to Me, who does have the 500 games on the Jinx, and she's a very big threat in this game. Has the potential to hypercarry.
Absolutely. Jinx in the late game, once she gets rune-ons, stuff like that allows her to hit multiple targets, can be a huge threat. But the Kennen coming out for Auron, I know that's one of his comfort picks actually. He's very, very good. That
range on Kennen might make him an ideal pick into Set. We'll have to see on that, as not enough data has been on Set rolling enough to really form any hard counters to him yet.
Absolutely. The fact that Kennen is so oppressive in lane as well, he's very, very hard to catch. And the fact that Set does some percentage health with his ultimate won't be nearly as good since Kennen isn't really a tank.
We can't see the Ahri pick mid on the B-Dem, who's also played this champion a lot in previous games that we've had. It is a very good pick with her CC here on Charm.
The final pick here from Parks will be a Veigar in response to mid. Looking forward to this late game laning.
Once again, we will have an explanatory vid for you guys playing just here in a few seconds before the game starts. mentioned in our video, but we can see the lineup is still remaining the same for this game. But if we look at this team fight for both sides, we can see that Kennen will be a very powerful pick for both sides of the team fight. Sorry, for UCM in this team fight, as he can stun a large area of effect with his ultimate and deal large amounts of damage, as well as with his Zhonya's, which he can be invisible while doing it.
Absolutely. The fact that Kennen has such a massive range on his ultimate and its effect is so prevalent will definitely be a huge threat, especially towards the backline. The Vigar, however, is something I'm very interested to see from Parks. If he stacks up properly and isn't shut down nice and early, we're going to see very, very prevalent scaling. He's going to get to the point where we're going to see the example of R stands for outplay, where he presses his ultimate on someone and they're deleted from the game.
Now we can also see some respect from UCM for that set pick, with a lot less healthy picks, with only the Sejuani really being a big healthy pick for UCM there, respecting the set's ultimate. For Set to deal large amounts of damage with his ultimate here, he will have to target that Sejuani.
Absolutely, and Rakan, while also very, very shield heavy, isn't nearly as tank-like, so he won't have as much HP for Set to combo off of. He's more of a healer, shielder, stuff like that, and is also an incredibly good engage. With combined with his ultimate and his W, the huge amounts of CC he can dish out will be very powerful.
For those that don't know, what Rakan can do is he can dash in, and a circle around him is knocked up of enemy champions. Then he can drop his ultimate, which any champion he runs into is charmed to him and cannot do anything for a few seconds. So dropping both of those together in tandem is an amazing engage for Rakan. He could potentially decide a team fight.
Not to mention, Rakan also has a very, very safe engage. His E ability allows him to dash to a teammate twice. So if anyone is even close to him, he can go in, engage, and immediately leave without taking any damage. It's very, very powerful.
And keep in mind, that dash on his E will give a shield to whoever he dashed to. Dashing back to their ADC or a squishy mid laner could potentially save their life.
I think that we're going to see a lot less action in laning phase, probably a more passive one, although I'm excited to see the ganks coming out onto the Vigar to be shut down nice and early. Although I think team fighting phase is going to be a huge thing in this game. I think there'll be a lot of them.
Especially with the Vigar cage, that could potentially disrupt an entire team fight.
Absolutely. So I'm just very excited to see how this game turns out overall.
Now we can see the Karma might be a very powerful pick into this Jinx, with her shield and movement speed, paired with Jinx's passive, which gives her additional awesome movement speed, which gets to kill or destroys a structure of the enemy team.
It was also recently buffed. She now gets it whenever she kills an epic monster as well, so Baron or Dragon fights will help their team out quite a lot. It'll allow them to rush down that objective, and then Jinx to just go absolutely crazy on the team.
Now if we look at runes here, we can see that Karma is running that Arcane Comet, which will get her additional poke on there. And Jinx actually opting off Lethal Tempo for the
Fleet Footwork,
thank you. Yeah. Which will give her some additional sustain lane as it heals and also gives movement speed.
Very, very helpful for both of them. Just a little bit of poke in for each, and again, the sustain for Jinx. Rakan, in the meantime, will be throwing out his Q quite a bit, trying to heal up that Xayah. Neither of the bot lane sides have a whole lot of healing, but the shields that both teams can put out are absolutely insane.
Along with the movement speed and mobility both teams have with the Kennons and Rakan, both very mobile champions, and with the recent buffs to Trundle in his movement speed and slows, he'll be able to contest that movement speed along with Karma's shield, which does give movement speed as well.
Absolutely, and we are off here on the Rift, both teams headed forward.
And we can see Park is actually dividing up this time, not looking for an early invade, as they saw it did not work last time. Ken going to secure the point in the top. As you can see, UCM is, again, playing out the same strategy they did last game of securing all four inches. We can see Set naively walking into that bush and getting caught a little, taking a little bit of damage, but UCM isn't quite gripped up enough there yet to do anything and catch him out. So
a very, very important thing that just happened there was we saw Set's flash come out in a panic from the Sejuani stun. So that's actually already a summoner spell down for the Set.
This is very big for a top lane, as Ken potentially has more kill pressure on this Set because he does not have that flash.
Absolutely, and the fact that Kennen can stun so easily will allow for very, very easy ganks for the Sejuani if she stays top in the early game, which I'm assuming is exactly what we're going to see. Both teams just kind of regrouping right now, waiting for the jungle to spawn, minions to get to lane. Kennen and Set have both moved up into the top lane. Kennen moving a little bit forward, we can see on the minimap there, looking for a nice cheesy early kill.
Now we can see both junglers are starting on their blue side, so we will see Sejuani start to farm towards bot side, and we will see the Trundles start to farm towards top, once again prioritizing getting that set ahead as they had in last game, or potentially going for a level 2 gank on bot.
One of the interesting things we're going to see here is how well the Set plays into this Kennen in the top lane. Kennen being ranged is a huge disadvantage for him, and we're already seeing how much damage he's taking just from trying to walk up and get those minions.
But we can also see those minions targeting Orhan 977 again after he attacks the Set in his own minion wave, taking the equal amount of damage in that trade.
Absolutely. I think it'll be a huge game of positioning for top lane, at least nice and early like this.
Now we can see that UCM is starting to get some priority in the bot lane, getting pushed in. They will probably get that level 2 first. And if they did get the level 2, Rakan going in, not quite getting the W, getting out, but is getting slowed and poked out by the Karma and Jinx.
The Ignite coming down, but he flashes away, and it looks like he's going to get out here.
Jin Caitlyn avoiding the Jinx traps and getting out of there without dying. It is going to take some poke as Park Esports does turn around this bot lane.
Jinx still looking for a little bit of a fight here, but we can see the Set moving into the Kennen. Here comes Trundle for a
Trundle
gank.
up top. Looks like Oran will probably get away with that, with minimal health.
Absolutely. It's already looking like quite the game here. We can see both teams deal so much damage, whether it be in the early game and especially the late game for both sides.
We can see Sejuani looking around bot lane, potentially go in here. As Rakan does land the W, Sejuani flashing in with the stun.
Karma
as
flashes
Karma
back
does
out.
go down. First blood for UCM on Rakan.
Absolutely. There have been so many summoner spells burned here already. We saw the Sejuani flash on top of the Karma, and in response, her flash away, but it wasn't quite enough. The Ignite coming down from the Rakan eventually finished her off.
We can see again, Toronto trying top lane, but he just cannot match that move speed that Kennen gets from his E. As Kennen does get away again and is looking to back or stay.
It looks like Parks is trying to do the same thing here, perhaps even attempting to tilt top. But Kennen has such a safe laning phase being ranged, and like you said, the move speed that he gets from that allows him for a nice, easy escape. So I think that we'll see a much easier top lane this time.
Unless Toronto can land that E on Kennen, he's pretty much guaranteed to get away free Scott.
Absolutely. In the future, I'm going to be looking towards Set's ultimate as a gap closer for sure, but if you're right next to Kennen, that allows him to just pop his ultimate and walk away again. Set misses
We can
the
see
pull here.
Kennen taking the priority in this lane once again, poking down the Set, but is taking damage from Set's W, which just has considerable range and damage.
Trundle's back again.
That's a flash coming up from both Trundle and Kennen, as Kennen does barely get away once again.
It's just too safe of a lane. Trundle is actually losing quite a bit of time up here. We can see Sejuani farming up very, very close to matching his farm, but she's already picked up an assist here in the bot lane, whereas Trundle hasn't accomplished that.
We can also see the goal difference already turning in Park University's favor once again, just barely. The ultimate Q coming out from Karma just missing both bot laners and exploding without doing any damage. That's going to be a 45-second cooldown for Karma there.
We can see that as of right now, the only real gold that's been dropped has gone to UCM's Rakan. It would have been better to see it go towards the Zaya, of course, for that extra damage, but the fact that UCM just got that gold in general will be very, very helpful. And like you said, we can see it pulling ahead. We're about 400 ahead right now.
We can see the Double Dorans is still a very powerful item for many ADCs right now.
Absolutely. Rakan looking for a little bit of an engage there, but
the health,
backing right back
lifesteal,
off.
and attack damage that it gives is just a lot of stats for the early game. It's a very good stat stick.
Absolutely. We can already see Kennen start building more damage here. Very, very, are just not at all concerned about Set's engage. He knows that he can't get close to him without taking a ton of damage. So Kennen's trying to kind of enhance that gap, make it even more detrimental for the Set to try to engage on him there.
And we can see the CS differences here. Top pulling ahead once again in a losing lane for him. With the CS difference in jungle siding with Trundle, the CS difference mid favoring actually B-Demp this time on his Ahri. And so pretty even in the bot lane.
Set keeps looking for this engage, but is forced out once again. The Kennen stun just coming down, forcing him to back off. And we can see how much damage he takes for trying to engage like that.
Definitely. We can see he can just auto-attack Q over and over and just get tons of damage out without Set being able to respond to it due to its range.
Looks like UCM is attempting to group up around Drake right now. It's another Ocean Drake, just like we saw last game, as Trundle comes in here to try to contest, along with the rest of the team. Looks like Set has teleported down to the bot lane.
Because they are pulling the Dragon out to deny UCM potential vision in the back pit of Dragon. UCM coming to respond, but Xayah is getting caught by that ult, and Set getting the shield from his W. It's no fight starting to break out yet. Just a little bit of trading back and forth, as does look like Parks will get this Dragon.
And indeed it does, but in response, Parks has taken quite a lot of damage.
And that is a kill on the Ahri by Jinx, with the Veigar ult going off and then a rocket catching her. That will take her down. 1 kill for Parks Esports.
We're now almost perfectly matched on gold. Parks just a teensy bit ahead, but both sides are almost exactly the same, actually.
No turrets quite taken yet, but we can see the objective starting to favor Park University.
Oron here in the top lane, though, he didn't have TP, he used it to get back to lane, so when Set moved down to the bot lane to get Drake, he got 2 free plates off of that, allowing him for a huge gold lead here.
Again, that is the equivalent of a kill, actually. So what UCM did trade in that 1 kill, yeah, you got it back in the top lane without those 2 plates.
We can see there that the gold values just popped up there for a second. There they are. Kennen here is almost 300 gold ahead of this Set already, allowing for some nice early buys.
We can see Ahri looking around the ward as Veigar backs off. She's either going to shove in that wave or look for a roam. Set moving down river, looking to possibly also roam and try to invade that jungle as Kennen reapproaches lane.
Both teams kind of pushed out and regrouping here as Parks attempts to push into UCM's tower, but doesn't quite succeed there. It looks like Rift Herald. There's about to be an attempt on Rift Herald as Sejuani moves in along with Kennen.
And Kennen lands a stun and gets the flash off of the Set here, doing big damage to that Trundle, but that looks like that Sejuani is going to go down to Veigar there, as Veigar's cage goes down, catching out the Ahri. Set pulling both of them in, dying to the Ignite.
Kennen dropping the Trundle, though.
Looks like they are going to get away, as Veigar ult does come out with the charm onto Set.
Jinx ult just barely missed there as Veigar continues to try to push this advantage.
Again, the cage coming out. Auron just running around trying to avoid everything as Ahri runs back down the turret. Getting away.
It is now 2-3 with Parks ahead by just 1. But we can see that already has a huge gold advantage.
We can see this poke lane in effect here with the Jinx Karma combo as Karma lands her ultimate Q, which does more damage and empowers her Q. And combined with the Jinx W, which also does big damage and can crit and stun. That's not slow.
Not to mention, yeah, but both of those abilities slow. So if one hits one of those abilities, then the other one is nearly guaranteed. Xayah looking low here, but there's not too much danger. She knows that Jinx just blew her ultimate trying to hit top and just barely missed, so there's no danger from that just yet.
We can see Park Esports again attempting this Rift Herald here. Set coming down to help him take it. Not sure if UCM Esports will be able to respond to this or if they just have to give it up.
Sejuani looking towards mid more here, just kind of farming through her jungle right now. No way to contest this with these two right now.
Park Esports does get the Baby Baron and does put it onto the Set, which can an empowered recall or let him drop the Herald and do massive damage to a turret.
That'll be especially helpful for applying more pressure in this top lane that Set's kind of just been forced out of if he doesn't have any help, especially against the Kennen. Looks like Sejuani's going to give up her blue buff to the Ahri here, helping her with that laning phase a little bit.
It is going to be the blue buff going into mid for B-Dem, which will give him more AP and mana and cooldown reduction for this lane.
That'll be incredibly helpful against this Veigar especially, whose flash is down right now. Ahri with her dash is a lot more mobile. The problem is if she gets caught in that Veigar cage, she's going to get chunked with her health, maybe even killed.
And we can see the Veigar is running Dark Harvest, which is a rune that consecutively also stacks up along with Veigar's passive ability to potentially deal massive more amount of damage if he could scale it up.
Absolutely. Rakan here finishing his support quest, which will allow him a couple of more wards, so UCM can get some nice vision here in the jungle. Vision control is going to be very, very important in this game. Well,
because Kennen getting
game.
away from that W, which does not land. The health advantage on Kennen, are on 977 in this top lane.
Sejuani moving down towards the bot lane here. Her ultimate is up, kind of looking for a play over top of this wall, it looks like, but Parks is going to be backing off.
Parks is going to back off and go back through their jungle, and may actually still get caught by the Sejuani.
Doesn't quite look like it. They dropped another ward in river, though. That sweepers from Sejuani almost picked up that Jinx.
With the Dragon up in 12 seconds, UCM Esports is looking to secure this bot priority and take us, as Sejuani does get caught out by a combination of Trundle and the Karma. As Sejuani goes down, that will be probably the Dragon for Park Esports, as UCM Esports has no spite to contest it.
The Ahri attempted to come down and help right there, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. The Sejuani was too deep in there and picked up by a ward. Looks like there's going to be an attempt on this Veigar here.
The E charm is missed by Ahri onto the Veigar, so Veigar does get away unscathed from that attempt, as lands a W onto him and is caught with the ultimate as he dashes over the wall with his ultimate.
And that is going to be another kill for Veigar. Again, that's going to be very, very important, especially for Veigar, whose passive relies on getting CS and early kills. He's going to be stacking up damage so quickly. We can already see that it looks like he's building towards Ludens, from what I can tell.
An interesting choice in the meta right now where it's more GLP focused at the moment because it gives better, more cost-efficient stats and a better active ability to do massive damage and slow.
Indeed, but Ludens is definitely nothing to scoff at either. Oh, Sejuani looking for the steal there, but just not quite enough as Trundle picks it up.
Trundle's smite was just bigger than Sejuani's at that point, so he could not pick it up.
And now it looks like a Cloud Rift, whereas last time we had more paths through the jungle. Cloud Drake will make zones that boost movement speed through the jungle. So again, more mobility. We've seen that both of these games so far.
That's going to be very good for UCM Esports here, as they have very mobile champions which will just boost their initial speed, or potentially allow Park Esports to match that movement speed with their own.
Absolutely. Set looking for a little bit of an engage there on the Kennen, but his Herald is running out. He's going to have to drop it soon, otherwise they won't get to use it at all. So I'm interested to see where this goes.
Ahri hard pushing out mid, just as turret plates fall, so they will not get any more extra gold off breaking turret plates, but those turrets will be easier to crack now.
Second Rift Herald coming up here in just another 2 minutes. I think we're going to see play kind of rotate towards the top of the map.
And there's a flash from Ahri to avoid the Veigar cage, as Trundle also catches up and starts chunking out. And the Sejuani comes out, does catch a Trundle, but Trundle might not go down to this, as he just has much more movement speed than Sejuani, and will get away as Veigar cage comes down again, restricting Sejuani's movement.
It was a real shame that Ahri had to kind of run out there. The TP from Set.
And here's the knock-up and ultimate from Rakan there. Again, massive CC. And Set is going to get away with the shield he gets from his W and a flash.
The ultimate coming out from Veigar dropping onto Sejuani as Kennen TP's in as well.
And that does look like Veigar gets stunned there. Might not get away from that as 977 flashes out and does kick him out just as he takes down this cage there. Xayah does get the kill on the Trundle as well, as they match that with the kill on the Kennen. Again, a kill on Jinx, who flashes over to get into that. Getting her passive proc, get the additional movement speed and attack speed, does pick up the triple kill for Park Esports.
That's going to be huge for Parks, as the Jinx is now 4-0 and already has a Stormrazor. Probably looking towards something like a Runon's Hurricane to boost their damage in team fights. So that extra gold is going to be so important for her.
With only Sejuani and Rakan back on the board, if Park Esports chooses to take an objective here, they will not be able to contest that, as they are going to scout out and ward the enemy jungle for prepping for the Baron spawning in 30 seconds.
We can see that the main allocation of kills here is more towards the mid and bot focus, two very, very important places. Set has picked up a kill, but hasn't picked up more than one since Kennen is just so safe against him, but he does take the first tower for top.
Unfortunately, that will be another turret down for UCM Esports, but as we can see, Oron does stop another back, which could potentially hurt Park Esports and setting up for another objective.
Did we see the Rift Herald drop from Parks there? I don't think that we ever did. I believe
did.
Was forced to teleport down, or at least I didn't notice it. But as we can see now, the second Rift Herald is up, so we might see another movement up there. Since Drake is not up for another 2 minutes almost, we can already see Trundle kind of hanging out towards this top.
You just saw him stole UCM's blue buff, which BDEP tried to come stop him from stealing. The smite was just too big. Viger almost killing Jin Caitlyn Xayah immediately, but Rakan dashing with the ultimate with his E to save her from the ultimate.
Again, we're seeing that nice early game burst from Vigar already as he's starting to scale up. That amount of damage is just absolutely ridiculous as Parks picks up another Rift Herald here.
We see Set roaming around looking for some picks to secure as he lands his E on the cannon, who does still manage to kind of get away, but is caught with the Karma binding. Drops ultimate. It does not get away as Park Esports does pick up this another kill.
Park's kind of running away with the kills here, already 6 ahead, and that's going to be a huge problem for UCM. As we can see, the gold lead is already so far in Park's favor, almost 6,000 in their favor. And
they did drop the Rift Herald up here top, so they will do massive damage to that turret and possibly catch it as this minion wave crashes into the turret. And UCM Esports does manage to kill the Baby Baron, but does save the turret for now.
Just barely, as Jinx is applying so much pressure here, looking for that kill on Sejuani.
Rakan lands a W and the ultimate, but does get caught by the Set ultimate to stop him from getting onto any of his teammates. The Jinx is caught out by Jin Caitlyn here as they push down, forcing them to retreat. The Karma slow on the Q coming off. The Set body blocks for the Karma. Does get killed and does kill the Karma. Viger Cage coming down to stop them from getting onto the rest, and we'll look to try to get at least one kill off this.
Just barely out of range right now. That Vigar couldn't quite press that ultimate button. That was a huge fight for UCM. We can see how much they've caught up. They're only 3,000 behind now. They halved the gold lead. And we can see that those 4 kills will allow for their waves to push out and them to hopefully take some objectives here.
With almost everyone back on the board and only a few more seconds left on death timers for Park Esports, Vigar is going to pick up this tower. They are going to rotate, try to look for an objective. The Baron coming up in 1 minute and 30 seconds.
We can see that UCM currently actually doesn't have any objectives. We lost both of the dragons so far, both of the Rift Heralds, and we are down by 4 towers right now. That's the main source of the gold lead that we're seeing. Those kills are definitely important, but objectives are worth so much.
And we can't see Karma get caught out, but a Viger comes to the flank and lands the E. That is 2 kills of Park Esports onto that Viger, who will benefit great from the stacks. A kill for the Jinx, getting her proc on the passive as they chase down the rest of UCM Esports. Another kill on the Ahri for the Jinx, which will get her even further in the lead as they do get this dragon.
That is 4 down for UCM once again. Baron coming up in 44 seconds, and we can see this early game lead might allow Parks to just take it as soon as it comes up. The Vigar already looking for more picks, get those stacks up. He is 5-1 so far. Probably more than 200 AP by quite a lot right now.
We can see with the spread of kills on Park Esports, with the 5 kills spread on the Vigar, the 6 kills spread on the Jinx, these are looking like very powerful hyper carries, and both of them are very viable win conditions for this game that UCM will have to worry about.
Absolutely. We can see from UCM, their main win condition is definitely going to be Xayah. And while she is 5-2, the Jinx is just dealing so much more damage in the team fights. It's a real danger right now. The Rakan engage, however, has been going over rather well. We've seen it in almost every single fight. The Set jumping into the backline as well isn't dealing nearly as much damage as last time since there's only one real tank. We can see Rakan has bought Zeke's Convergence, a very, very powerful item currently, and for quite a while now. What it does is whenever one of the people that are binded with the item casts their ultimate, it enables both of them to deal increased damage, the support in an area of effect around them, and the AD carry or whoever he's binded with extra damage on their auto attacks.
And we can see that Jinx does have that Runaan's Hurricane we were talking about earlier, along with the Stormrazor and a BF Sword, which is probably going to be built into that Infinity Edge there, which will increase her critical strike damage and chance, make her a powerhouse if she does get that before the Xayah does.
Xayah had in CS, but not by enough to matter too much as the
and that's
Sejuani
the old
ultimate comes out.
Sejuani being caught onto the Vigar as he flashes away with the cage. That is going to save the Vigar's life there. as
here on top
Jinx
of the
does get dropped massive damage, but as her team follows up, that is going to catch out Oron 977 in the top lane as Kennen goes down. Another kill for Park Esports.
The Vigar here picking up another stack as the
Engage
Rakan
from
engage.
Park Esports from the UCM. Again, Set catches the Rakan right in the ultimate and stops him as IP slow catches a kill onto the Karma, but unfortunately, the Rakan does fall down.
The Jinx gold, however, coming down to the Ahri.
And that's a huge amount of damage from Vigar onto the Ahri there. Again, as also Sejuani is shut down by the Trundle here.
Wow, there were so many people killed in that last team fight. From UCM, the last one on the Rift was the Xayah, who was even forced to back off because of low health. Here with the Kennen, they might still lose this inhibitor. It is looking that way. I don't know if they can contest against these 3 big damage dealers.
With 2 of UCM still down, and with Rakan not quite there yet, they are going to catch that Ken. No, they're not! What was that? Xayah catches out the Trundle with the feathers there. Right as he's about to kill Aron 977, but does not, as he gets away with the kill. Amazing play by Jin Caitlyn there.
What a tiny amount of health to squeak away with, especially against someone like a Vigar who can just press Q and absolutely destroy someone. I'm incredibly surprised that Oron was able to make it out of that alive.
And UCM is grouping back up mid with Sejuani, Xayah, and Rakan, looking to clear out wards in their jungle so they can try to contest this Baron. If Park Esports wants to take it, Vigar trades drop down. They're denying them access to that route as it goes away. And to clean out wards to secure their blue buff.
We can still see, however, UCM hasn't taken a tower, unfortunately. The amount of pressure that's been applied by Parks is just really hard to fight back against with the 3 Drakes and 7 towers up. Indeed, Inhib has also been taken by Parks. UCM might be forced to play too defensively to even contest this Baron efficiently.
And we can see Moza Park is starting to group around this Baron. There's 4 of them grouped around there. One has got, as Karma gets caught by the charm, UCM can't quite follow up because that would put them in danger, getting caught by all 5 of Park Esports as they start clearing out wards that UCM had just put there. They're prepared to take this Baron.
Baron is going to fall incredibly quickly to Parks as well, with the Trundle and the Jinx dealing so much constant damage.
And what was that from the set? The Flash E behind him. Looks like he just whiffed that flash there, unfortunately, for them.
Very interesting.
It's just Sejuani looks like he's going to get caught, but does get away with the dash. Jinx cannot follow up on that because all of UCM is there to back up Sejuani should they go in.
Parks moving back towards Baron, but not quite starting it yet as UCM is attempting to push out this wave and apply some pressure.
There's the engage from Rakan onto stopping the Trundle as he's going to go down, but does get the Starage proc. UCM picking up 3 kills triple there on the Ahri onto Kennen.
That's going to be incredibly, incredibly helpful. 2 of their biggest damage dealers there are down. The Trundle for the engage, as well as the Karma, and the Jinx going down.
That Jinx death is going to be huge for UCM Esports, as it will potentially help them win any more fights that might break out around this dragon, and deny Park Esports the ability to clear this faster than UCM.
It looks like UCM is taking the dragon, so therefore Parks cannot get soul this early, luckily.
Vigar catches out the Ahri and does land the ultimate as the stopwatch goes off for Kennen to stop him from dying to the Set. It does look like Set's gonna pick up 2 kills there along with Vigar on another. And UCM Esports will go down for this dragon.
Set's sustain will just completely destroy the
That is the ace for Park Esports with the triple kill on the Set. A 2v4 from UCM onto UCM Esports there.
Not able to really do too much with it. It looks like Parks is going to be looking towards a Baron here, and I think that they can take it that quickly, unfortunately.
With Karma's ultimate E, you could shield all 3 of them when they take that. With the combined burst damage of Trundle and Jinx, they will tear down this Baron very fast, even without the rest of their team there, and without UCM there to contest it.
UCM forced back into their base by these super minions coming down the mid lane. With the help of this Baron buff, it's going to be very, very hard for them to turn this around. Even with that incredible team fight that happened a little bit ago, the Set just had too much health and sustained too hard.
We see that Park Esports does manage to secure this Baron and will back off with it to fight another day. We see Set pushing bot with the Baron buff. Might be contested by the Ahri or the Rakan here, but we'll probably back off and let it slow push in.
We can see that the set has actually bought a Gargoyle Stone Plate, which makes him more tanky the more people are around him, and can actually double, or almost double his health if there's more than 3 enemies around him, making him very, very hard to kill.
It'll be a 60% increase in health if he activates it with someone around. It'll be a 100% increase with 4 enemies around.
4 enemies, gotcha. So that's going to make him incredibly, incredibly hard to kill. All he has to do is ult into UCM's backline, press Gargoyle Stoneplate, and he's close to unkillable. He's just so big at that point.
And here we are, IP Slow clearing out some of the wards around there as he gets found out by the Twin Shadows coming in. As Conrad plays around, just barely getting out of there, without being caught by UCM.
The Baron buff isn't doing too much for pushing right now. We can see most of it is focused around the bot lane.
Oh, and we can see Conrad getting caught by the Jinx E as the Viger Cage goes down, catching out Rakan before he can go in. And as Rakan goes down, but does get shielded, saved, the Jinx ult does come in and manage to take him out as Trundle and Set get in there and do not manage to catch anyone immediately. Trundle going ham, going and does get caught by the Xayah stun with her feathers. As Viger Cage comes down, Xayah will get out of that with her ultimate, which does make her invulnerable. As it has a huge stun on 3 of those, but they unfortunately will go down to the Jinx just popping off here.
We can see the Gargoyle Stoneplate once again popping up.
That's
for this
another
set,
ace for Park Esports.
Ace. Ladies and gentlemen, that might be the game.
That will
right
be game
here.
right there.
The Baron buff minions can take too many shots from the towers, and that looks like a second match, and therefore a game for Parks.
As the Nexus goes down, that will be game.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. The UCM has unfortunately lost this game, but that's quite alright. We'll be back once again next week, and like I just said, we appreciate you joining us this afternoon.
Once again, I'm your host, Ven Carroll.
I am your host, 8-Bit Hypocrite.
We'll see you next weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.